Hey there guys, Portal Master here, and today I am here to talk to you guys about what was announced and discussed in Activision's most recent earnings call. So, if you don't know exactly to what I am referring to, I believe it was last Thursday is when all of this dropped, and I apologize for it taking so long to get around to me making this video, but essentially, here's what this event was. So essentially, Activision is a company that people can invest in. And because people are investing in this company, they want to know exactly what they're investing in and what Activision is planning to do to make money. And obviously, Activision makes money by releasing games. So every quarter, which is every 3 months, Activision has to do what is called an earnings call. At this earnings call, they announce how much money they made in the previous 3 months and what they're planning to do over the next several months in order to continue making money. And essentially this includes things like releasing games, releasing transactions in games, like if you play Warzone, you'll know that there are a lot of microtransactions in that game, and that is a way that Activision makes money. Of course, you've got all the stuff over on the Blizzard side too, so you've got stuff like Hearthstone and Overwatch thrown in this mix, but essentially it's all of Activision and Blizzard's executives saying how they're planning to make the company's money. And so, again, this includes talking about what games they will be releasing, and because this is their quarter 4 year-in review earnings call, they typically like to talk about what is coming in the next year, and this was no exception. So, at this earnings call, we found out some interesting information about all of Activision's franchises, at least to a degree. So, before we get into this next section, I need to say this. If you have not heard about the news about Crash Bandicoot and the Wumpa League news, you need to go watch my video on that to have a full understanding of what I'm talking about in this video. You won't understand everything that's going on here unless you've seen that video. So that should have come out the day before this releases, so I highly recommend you actually going and watching that video before watching this. So with that out of the way, let's get into what they said. So what we found out from this Activision earnings call is that, surprise, surprise, they're going to make another COD game this year. But what we also found out is that Activision plans to have another premium release. Now, we don't really know what this means, and I had some discussion with people over what this did mean. My conclusion is logically it means Spyro. And why would it not mean Spyro? Because we know that Spyro and Crash tends to be pretty tied up and they do the same thing. So what Crash does, Spyro does 1 year later. And obviously, last year in 2020, we got Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time, 3 years after the remaster. And so, surprise, surprise, we would expect a 4th Spyro game to follow up the remastered trilogy coming this year in addition to COD. Now, obviously that may not be the case just because they've never really referred to Crash and Spyro as premium releases before. We don't really know what that means, but logically we have to assume that that does mean Spyro. But here's where things get interesting. Activision has stated that they have a few things up their sleeve in remastered content. That's odd. What does that mean? So, the most remasters that we can really think of would be more on the Blizzard side, not really on the Activision side. There's not a whole lot of properties that they own that they haven't really remastered. They've remastered Spyro, they've remastered Crash, they've even remastered Tony Hawk Pro Skater. Now, while there are other games in Crash, Spyro, and Tony Hawk that could theoretically be remastered, it sort of raises the question of what? Because none of the other games in those franchises were anywhere near as well received as the games they've already remastered. Yes, of course you could remaster the, Spyro, Dawn of the Dragon trilogy, whatever, but that wouldn't be successful. Not a lot of people liked that as far as classic fans go, and while there are a group of people that did, it's not enough to warrant a full-on remaster at this point, just because those games aren't old enough to warrant the nostalgia release. It'd be weird to release a Legend of Spyro trilogy remaster, as would it for some of the older, Crash games that came after Crash 3, but before the remastered trilogy. So, it's a weird situation, and obviously same thing with Tony Hawk Pro Skater. So, one of the things that does leave is it leaves Skylanders. But that's weird because we've heard from our Twitter leaker that supposedly we're not getting a remaster. Supposedly it's something else. This is a weird situation overall. Plus, we're missing a key component, which is that Vicarious Visions has up and left Activision and gone to Blizzard. It's a weird situation. I don't know who would be making anything because we assume, and it's almost confirmed, that Beenox is working on Crash Team Racing 2. And if the Wumpa League was cancelled for Toys for Bob, they're supposedly still hiring for a multiplayer game, which is probably not Spyro, and it just puts us in this weird situation. Because also last year at Activision's earnings call, actually almost a year ago, they said, we want to make more games. And now they're making fewer games with the loss of Vicarious Visions. So what is going on over at Activision? It's this great mystery to me. Well, because we've got a multiplayer game coming up, right? But it can't be the Wumpa League. And Beenox is working on Crash Team Racing. And they could remaster Crash Bash. But how could Toys for Bob be working on Crash Bash this year if they're working on Spyro? But also, how could they be working on a Skylanders game if they're tied up with that? But oh wait, we've heard the Skylanders game is in development by a third party, so maybe that makes some sense and it could be multiplayer, and it's wild. I don't know what Activision is doing right now, but I have to trust that they want to make more games, and supposedly out of nowhere, more games will come, and probably by outsourcing it to third-party sources. It's weird, guys. It's so weird, I don't know what to tell you. But this is the situation we're in, and honestly, the only way we're going to find out more information is by waiting. I've got an update on the Skylanders rumors coming tomorrow, actually. It's going to basically be 3 rapid days of news, one on Wumpa League, one on this, and then tomorrow I've got a video about the Skylanders rumors. Just got to keep on building up and building up, but yeah, there we go. That's the information I have for you guys. I don't know what to tell you folks, but this is wild. Tell me what you think about all this information down in the comments below. I'm completely at a loss on what Activision is doing, but I trust that we're still at the very least getting 1 game a year, and likely we're getting more than that, because they kind of said they wanted to do more than 1 game a year. I don't know where this is going, y'all, but let's strap in and wait. Thank you guys so much for watching. This has been Portal Master. Remember to tell me what you guys think down in the comments below, and I will catch you guys tomorrow for an update on the Skylanders rumors. See you guys then. Thanks again for watching. I just wanted to take some time to thank my generous patrons on Patreon, including Haley, Adrian, WOSA, True Blue Dogemon, and AngryTedC. Thanks again for watching. I just wanted to take some time to thank my generous patrons on Patreon, including Haley, Adrian, WOSA, True Blue Dogemon, and AngryTedC.